Welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Ooh, fun.
Today we're doing something really exciting. We're diving into Doris's self-published cookbook. Now I know what you're thinking. A cookbook. What's so deep about that? But trust me, this is no ordinary cookbook. With over 120 recipes, it's packed with personal anecdotes, notes, and memories that give us a glimpse into Doris's life.
It's like a culinary autobiography.
Exactly.
And we get to be the biographers.
I love that. Okay. So our mission today is to uncover Doris's story. What kind of person was she? What were her passions? How did her life experiences, especially her time traveling with her husband in the Air Force, shape her relationship with food?
I think that's a great place to start, that shaping of her relationship with food. Let's start with her early life and culinary influences. We know from her cookbook that Doris grew up in Flora, Illinois.
Classic Midwestern heartland.
Exactly. And you can definitely see that reflected in some of her recipes. Think hearty casseroles and comforting baked goods. But there's also a surprising Southern influence woven throughout.
Right. It's almost like she blended these two distinct culinary traditions to create her own unique style. So how did the Southern flavors find their way into a Midwestern girl's cooking?
Well, Doris married Jesse, a Marine at the time, and their journey together began in Louisiana.
Okay.
Talk about a culinary immersion. Her cookbook is filled with classic Cajun and Creole recipes like chicken shrimp and tasso gumbo, unusual shrimp gumbo, shrimp and okra gumbo, even a poor man's gumbo. I'm sensing a theme here.
Wow, she really went all in on the gumbo. I'm curious, did she share any insights into her gumbo making process?
She did. Doris mentioned spending 30 years experimenting with different gumbo variations. She even calls it her gumbo investigation.
I love that.
I know. What I find really relatable is her candid admission about using store-bought roux.
Okay.
It highlights her practicality and her understanding that sometimes convenience is key in the kitchen, especially for a busy military wife with a growing family.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
It seems like she found a way to balance tradition with practicality, which is a real culinary superpower.
absolutely. And it's something we see throughout her cookbook. Doris wasn't afraid to embrace shortcuts or adapt recipes to fit her lifestyle. For example, she mentions using her salad attachment on her mixer to simplify making large batch salads for potlucks and gatherings. It speaks to her resourcefulness, especially considering the frequent moves that came with military life.
It's fascinating how her cooking style seems to reflect her personality. Adaptable, resourceful, and always focused on bringing people together. It's like each recipe tells a story not just about the food, but about her life.
You're right. And those stories become even richer when we consider the impact of Jesse's Air Force career, which took them all over the U.S. and internationally. This exposure to diverse cultures and cuisines clearly broadened Doris's culinary horizons, and it's reflected in the incredible range of dishes she includes in her cookbook.
Okay, let's dive into these global flavors. What are some of the recipes that highlight Doris's culinary adventures?
Well, we have spaghetti carbonara, a classic Italian dish that likely stems from their time in Naples. There's also chicken adobo, a nod to Filipino cuisine, which might have been inspired by their time in Japan and its connection to Hawaiian food culture. And let's not forget her Mexican pulled pork, probably a result of their posting in Texas.
It's like she collected flavors and memories from each place they lived. I love how her cookbook serves as a culinary map of their journey as a military family.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about trying new dishes. Doris actively incorporated these global flavors into her cooking, adapting recipes to suit her family's tastes and the ingredients available to her. It speaks to her adventurous spirit and her willingness to embrace new experiences, even in the kitchen.
That's so inspiring. It's like she's showing us that food can be a bridge between cultures, a way to connect with people from all walks of life. But let's not forget being a military wife often meant packing up and moving every few years, all while raising 3 sons. How did Doris manage to maintain a sense of home and family amidst all that upheaval?
That's a great question. And it leads us to a core theme in Doris's cookbook, the importance of food as a source of connection and community. Even as they moved from place to place, Doris used her cooking to create a sense of belonging, both for her family and for the new friends they made along the way.
I'm curious to hear more about this. What are some of the recipes that illustrate this idea of food as a way to connect?
Well, there's Jean's turkey casserole, a recipe Doris got from the wife of Jesse's boss at Yokota Air Base in Japan.
Wow.
It represents the support system of Air Force wives and how they relied on each other during those frequent relocations, sharing recipes and creating a sense of community.
It sounds like food wasn't just about sustenance for Doris. It was a way to build relationships and foster a sense of belonging no matter where they were in the world.
Absolutely. She also includes Pat Connolly's chicken salad,
Right.
a reminder of a cherished friendship, and Gail's Cuban-style black beans and rice, a dish that likely reflects her openness to trying new things and sharing culinary experiences with friends.
It's heartwarming to see how Doris used food to bridge the gaps created by distance and change, staying connected to the people and places that mattered most to her. But I'm curious to learn more about Doris, the person beyond her role as a military wife and mother. What were some of her quirks and passions that shine through in her cookbook?
That's a fantastic question, and it's something we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into Doris's personality, her love of sweets, and her unique approach to cooking and life.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Doris's cookbook. In the last part, we explored how her life as a military wife shaped her culinary journey, from her Midwestern roots to her global adventures.
Yeah, we saw how she blended different culinary traditions, embraced convenience, and used food to connect with people and create a sense of belonging wherever she went.
It was fascinating to see how her cooking style mirrored her adaptable and resourceful personality. But now I'm really curious to uncover more of those personal touches, the little quirks and passions that make Doris's cookbook so unique.
Well, one thing that really jumps out at me is her love of sweets. Doris had a definite sweet tooth, and her cookbook is filled with delightful treats, especially pies.
Oh, yes. I remember her mentioning having golden apple pie for breakfast on occasion.
What?
That's dedication to pie. Did she share any other memorable pie stories?
Yes, she did. She talks about making a chocolate livers cream pie for a school fundraiser, which speaks to her community involvement and her willingness to share her baking talents with others.
It sounds like pie was more than just a dessert for Doris. It was a way to connect with people, celebrate special occasions, and bring joy to those around her.
Exactly. And her love of sweets wasn't limited to elaborate pies. She also included simple, comforting recipes like Martha's cornbread and quick banana bread, probably passed down from her mother or other family members.
Those classic recipes often hold the most meaning, don't they? They connect us to our heritage and evoke a sense of warmth and nostalgia.
Absolutely. And speaking of nostalgia, I was struck by Doris's written gratitudes. She had a practice of jotting down things she was thankful for, sometimes linking them to specific recipes.
That's such a beautiful practice. It's like she infused her cooking with gratitude, making each dish even more meaningful. What were some of the things she expressed gratitude for?
One that stood out was her gratitude for waking up to the smell of bacon cooked by her husband, who she affectionately called Honey Bunny.
Ah,
It's such a simple, everyday moment, but it speaks volumes about their loving relationship and her appreciation for the little things.
it's a beautiful reminder that happiness often lies in those small, everyday moments. And it shows how Doris found joy in the ordinary, even amidst the challenges of military life.
Speaking of challenges, remember her story about attempting to make peanut butter balls dipped in chocolate?
Oh,
We forgot to freeze them first, and they ended up melting all over the kitchen.
oh, I remember that. It sounds like a classic kitchen disaster. How did she handle it?
With her signature humor and grace, instead of getting frustrated, she simply said, "A memory was made." It shows her ability to laugh at herself and find the silver lining in any situation.
That's such a great attitude. It's like she's teaching us that it's okay to make mistakes in the kitchen as long as we learn from them and enjoy the process. And who knows, maybe those kitchen mishaps will become our most cherished memories.
Exactly. And even when things didn't go according to plan, Doris always found a way to be resourceful. Remember her comment about substituting cauliflower for potatoes in her potato salad to make it lighter? It speaks to her willingness to experiment and adapt, even with classic recipes.
It's like she was always looking for ways to improve, both in her cooking and in her life, and her practicality extended beyond the kitchen. Remember her 20-minute meal strategy? It sounds like a lifesaver for a busy mom juggling work, family, and frequent moves.
Absolutely. She understood the importance of efficiency and making the most of her time. And yet she never sacrificed flavor or creativity. Her recipes are proof that you can create delicious, satisfying meals without spending hours in the kitchen.
It's inspiring to see how Doris balanced practicality with passion, resourcefulness, with creativity. It's a valuable lesson for anyone, whether you're a seasoned cook or just starting out in the kitchen. But I'm curious to learn more about how Doris's adventurous spirit, which we saw reflected in her global cuisine, manifested in other areas of her life.
That's a great point. Doris wasn't just adventurous in her cooking. She embraced new experiences in all aspects of her life. And her cookbook provides a fascinating glimpse into those adventures, both near and far.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some of the stories that highlight Doris's adventurous side?
Well, remember her recipe for shrimp po' boy?
Yeah?
She mentions enjoying one during a trip to Biloxi, Mississippi with Jesse. They were big on road trips, exploring everything from the Gulf Coast to California, and those trips often inspired new culinary discoveries.
It's like their love of travel was interwoven with their love of food. Each dish became a souvenir, a tangible memory of a special place and time. Did she mention any other noteworthy road trip meals?
She did. There's a recipe for chicken fried steak that she connects to a diner they visited in Texas. She even describes the diner's atmosphere and the friendly locals they met, making the recipe even more vivid and engaging.
It's amazing how she used food to capture those travel experiences, bringing them to life through her cookbook. It's like she's inviting us to join her on those adventures, to taste the flavors and experience the places through her words.
You put it perfectly. And it wasn't just about exotic locales or fancy restaurants. Doris also appreciated the simple regional specialties she encountered on their travels. Remember her recipe for shoe-fly pie?
Oh, yeah.
She links it to the Pennsylvania Dutch country and even speculates that some version of this molasses-based pie might have been on the Pilgrim's table at the first Thanksgiving.
Wow, that's a fascinating connection. It shows how she saw food as a way to explore history and connect with the past, even in her own kitchen.
Exactly. And her curiosity wasn't limited to American history. She also included recipes from other cultures, like Colcannon potatoes, a traditional Irish dish which she might have learned about during their travels or from friends.
It's incredible how her cookbook spans cultures and generations, bringing together flavors and stories from all corners of her world. But it's not just about the recipes themselves, is it? It's about the connections she made, the memories she preserved, and the values she embodied through her cooking.
You hit the nail on the head. Doris's cookbook is a testament to the power of food to bring people together, create a sense of belonging, and nourish both body and soul.
It's a beautiful legacy to leave behind. And it makes me think, what if we all approached our cooking with that same sense of intention and mindfulness? What if we saw each recipe as an opportunity to connect with others, share our stories, and express our gratitude?
That's a powerful thought. It's like Doris is inviting us to create our own culinary autobiographies filled with delicious food and the stories that make our lives meaningful.
And speaking of delicious food, I'm eager to hear more about some of Doris's most treasured recipes, the ones that truly capture the essence of her cooking style and her spirit.
Well, you're in luck. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll be savoring some of those standout dishes and uncovering even more about the heart and soul behind Doris's cooking. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Doris's cookbook. We've journeyed through her life, discovering how her experiences shaped her unique culinary style and the heartwarming stories behind her recipes.
We have, her adventurous spirit and love of sweets and that deep appreciation for connection.
It's been such a rich and inspiring exploration, and now I'm ready to dive into the heart of her cookbook, the recipes themselves. What are some of the dishes that stand out to you as truly capturing Doris's essence?
Well, you can't talk about Doris's cookbook without mentioning her gumbo. It's a recurring star throughout, with multiple variations reflecting her gumbo investigation over the years.
Right.
We have chicken and shrimp, unusual shrimp, shrimp and okra, and even a poor man's version.
It's like she dedicated a whole chapter of her culinary life to perfecting the art of gumbo. And I love how her practicality shines through even in a dish as traditionally labor-intensive as gumbo. Remember her candid comment about using store-bought roux?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a reminder that even the most skilled cooks value convenience and efficiency, especially in the midst of a busy life. And it makes her recipes all the more accessible to home cooks like us.
Right.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, hey, it's okay to take shortcuts sometimes as long as you're still creating delicious food and bringing people together.
That's such a great takeaway. It's about finding that balance between tradition and practicality, between honoring the essence of a dish while adapting it to fit your own lifestyle and preferences.
Exactly. And that adaptability is a hallmark of Doris's cooking.
Aha.
Another dish that exemplifies this is her cauliflower salad.
Okay.
It's a brilliant twist on a classic potato salad,
Yeah.
using cauliflower instead of potatoes for a lighter and arguably more flavorful option.
It's a great example of how she wasn't afraid to experiment with familiar recipes, incorporating new ingredients and techniques to make them her own. It also speaks to her awareness of health and well-being, even back then.
You're right. She even mentions in her notes that she started using cauliflower to cut down on carbs. It shows that she was ahead of her time in terms of recognizing the connection between food and health.
And let's not forget her heartwarming Jean's turkey casserole, the recipe she got from a fellow Air Force wife in Japan. It's a classic comfort food that speaks to the importance of community and sharing meals with loved ones.
Absolutely. It's a dish that evokes warmth, togetherness, and a sense of belonging. And it's a great way to use up leftover turkey, highlighting Doris's practicality and resourcefulness once again.
It's like every recipe in her cookbook tells a story, not just about the food itself, but about her life, her values, and the people she cherished.
You put it beautifully. And those stories come alive through her personal anecdotes and reflections scattered throughout the cookbook. Remember her recipe for Cajun shrimp boil? A dish she shared with her granddaughters Jessica and Rachel?
Oh, yes.
She describes it as a special memory, a moment of connection and joy shared with her family. It transforms the recipe from a mere set of instructions into a treasured keepsake, a reminder of the power of food to create lasting memories.
And it's not just about family gatherings and special occasions. Doris found meaning and connection in everyday meals as well. Remember her written gratitudes where she expressed thanks for the simple pleasure of waking up to the smell of bacon cooked by her honey bunny.
Oh, it's so sweet.
It's such a heartwarming detail. It reminds us that happiness often lies in those small, everyday moments, the simple acts of love and care that nourish our souls as much as food nourishes our bodies.
And that's what makes Doris's cookbook so special. It's not just a collection of recipes. It's a celebration of life, love, and the power of food to connect us to ourselves, to each other, and to the world around us.
It's been an incredible journey exploring Doris's world through her cookbook. It's left me feeling inspired to approach my own cooking with more intention, creativity, and gratitude.
Me too. It's a reminder that we all have stories to tell through our cooking, and that food can be a powerful medium for expressing ourselves, sharing our heritage, and creating meaningful connections.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, I'm left with one final thought-provoking question for our listener. If Doris's cookbook reflects her life, what does your cooking say about you? What stories do your recipes tell? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in your kitchen?
That's a beautiful question to ponder. It encourages us to see cooking as more than just a chore or a necessity.
Right.
It's an opportunity to be creative, to connect with our heritage, to nourish our loved ones, and to leave a lasting legacy of love and flavor in our kitchens.
And on that note, we bid you farewell from this deep dive into Doris's world. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
Until next time, happy cooking and happy storytelling.